if you're often feeling anxiety when you're with a man, that means that you are not with a masculine man. That's an emasculated man that you're dealing with. Because if you're with a truly embodied masculine man, you're not going to be feeling much in the way of anxiety at all, because he's going to be creating that safety for you, including the safety of clarity, right? He's giving you clarity about where things are going and what's happening and what the plans are and what you mean to him. He's giving you that all the time in a really relaxed, loving, devotional kind of way. It's when a man is not giving you that you start to feel anxious, you start to question, you start to spin in your head, you start to overfunction. And that's when so many of the problems start in the first place, start to walk on eggshells. All of these behaviors and the feelings that are coming up for you, well, okay, the behaviors are the problem. Yes, we're going to talk about the behaviors, but the feelings themselves, the anxiety, the fear, maybe even the terror that you feel is not the problem. It's the symptom of the problem. And the problem is the way that the man is leading you. And today we are going to be talking about why a man is bringing up this anxiety for you in the first place, what he's doing wrong, what he should be doing differently, and also what you can be doing differently when you experience a man like this. Because this is no way to experience a relationship or a dating situation. You're supposed to be relaxed and having a fantastic time pretty much all the time. And if you're not, then we got to address it. So we're going to be talking about that in this video. But before we do that, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Zach Rohde. I am here to lead you into creating the relationship of your dreams using your feminine energy and what I call feminine communication to inspire a man into cherishing you. If you have not yet subscribed to this channel, make sure you do that below. Hit the notification bell and be sure to like this video because I'm going to make sure it's a good one for you. So before we really dive into this topic, we got to talk about your feminine instinct. Your feminine instinct is so important. And if you're a woman, a real biological woman, then you have a feminine instinct. And this instinct is going to be very different than a man's instinct. Man has a masculine instinct. Woman has a feminine instinct. This is biological. Just like you have physical characteristics that make you appear like a woman, genitalia and so on, you also have a feminine instinct, a programming, an internal programming inside of you that is separating you from a man and how he is going to be programmed. I'm not talking about anything cultural. Right? This is not something that you learn from birth. This is something that is deeply hardwired. And a big part of the feminine instinct is it will warn you with a feeling of anxiety when something is wrong. And unfortunately, so many women will judge themselves and beat themselves up and think that there's something wrong with them when they feel anxious. And it's like, oh, why do I feel anxious all the time? I feel so much anxiety when I'm with this guy and these situations and I'm spinning in my head. And to be fair, let's be totally honest, absolutely, you can have trauma, right, wounding because of your childhood and intergenerational trauma and all of that, that exacerbates the reaction of your feminine instinct, which means instead of just feeling a little bit of anxiety, you might feel a lot of anxiety. You might feel terror, okay? So that is wounding. That is really unfortunate. That's very unpleasant for a woman to experience. But the feminine instinct is part of this, and that is who you are, and there's nothing wrong with that. And if you didn't have a feminine instinct to warn you about things that are a problem in some way, especially about the way that a man is leading you or not leading you, well, you'd probably get in a lot more trouble in your life than you've gotten into, right? Like you wouldn't be able to sense, for example, like a creepy man, right? It's like, ooh, that guy's really creepy. And if he's leading you to do something and it brings up that fear in you, right? Like, oh, I don't really want to go like down that darkened street with you, right? Like with this creepy guy that I don't feel safe with. Imagine you didn't have a feminine instinct to warn you about that. Just be like, okay, yeah, let's go. And the next thing you get hacked to pieces or something because your instinct was warning you that there is something truly wrong with that man, but you wouldn't have felt it, right? If you didn't have that feminine instinct. And of course, there's many women, unfortunately, too, that they are being warned by their feminine instinct that something's wrong, but they gaslight themselves. It's like, oh, I'm just being crazy or whatever, and then some problem happens. One of the things that I help you do on these videos, and as well obviously in my academy program where we help women make these shifts, is learning how to trust your feminine instinct. Stop judging it. Stop judging your feelings as wrong or bad or messy or too much or whatever. And recognize your feminine instinct for what it truly is, which is beautiful, right? And such an important part of you as a woman. The problem that women have, and we are going to be talking about this soon, is you feel the feelings, the anxiety, but then you don't know what to do about the anxiety, right? It's like you go into what I could call a control pattern, right? Either judging or questioning or fawning or just avoiding completely and hoping that things get better, not sharing your feelings, not being vulnerable in any kind of way, or communicating with a lot of judgment. So you do that, you're in a control pattern, and then you exacerbate the problem because then the man gets irritated or he withdraws, and now you feel even more anxious because now I really don't know where we stand. Like, is he going to break up with me, right? So that's what makes the situation even worse. If only you knew what to do when you are feeling that anxiety in your body, things could start to get a lot better because it's warning you about something that's important. And we're going to talk about what you can do, absolutely. But first, you really have to understand how important this feminine instinct is. So I'll give you an example. Let's say that, and I have heard everything. Like, I've done literally well over 1,000 discovery calls for my academy program and gone, by the way, if you're interested in working with me, do a discovery call. Below this video, open up the description, relationshipyourdreams.com, and you can do a call with me for free. We'll talk about what your issues are and see if you're right for working with us. But I've done over 1,000 of these calls, and I've also worked with hundreds and hundreds of women in my academy program. And a lot of the stories that I hear are just like, shouldn't have to be dealing with this. Because, what's going on in our society today is men have no idea how to lead. I'm not saying every single man. Like, one of the things that I help single women do is attract healthy masculine men who do know how to lead. But we got a lot of men out there who have no clue what they're doing. They are just flying blind and taking a woman with them and causing her a whole bunch of anxiety and grief and resentment. And I used to be one of them, by the way. I would call myself better than most in a lot of ways, but I definitely did cause a lot of heartbreak and problems for women because I didn't know how to lead a woman as a healthy masculine man who was stepping up as her provider and protector and being devotional with her, always being in integrity with her. So anyway, that means a lot of women are going to be activated a lot of the time where they're feeling this anxiety. And then women are going to often blame themselves. Not all women. Some women will blame the man and not look at how they're co-creating the situation, which is also a problem. But a lot of women, especially the ones that we tend to attract in our academy, more of them tend to blame themselves than the reverse. Which means, I'm doing something wrong, or why am I so anxious all the time, or whatever. Instead of realizing I'm feeling some anxiety. Why might I be feeling this? And then address it in a healthy feminine way. And what I teach is using feminine communication to communicate that in a way that a man's going to understand and not be triggered by, because you're not being typically unintentionally disrespectful to him. So imagine this scenario. I went on a bit of a tangent, but I was bringing this up because I've heard all of these in my enrollment calls and in my academy program so many times. So, classic story, there's this guy that you met him from online dating or whatever, and you're texting him and you're creating plans, and he's like, okay, we're going to get together this weekend. And you're like, okay, great. And then he doesn't really clarify anything beyond that, right? Like, he doesn't say, okay, make sure that you're free at 6 o'clock, for example. And he's like, okay, well, at 6 o'clock, I'm gonna meet you here, or I'm gonna pick you up. Here's how to dress, because here's where we're going. Like, it's a casual place or it's a fancy place or whatever. And basically clarifying at least the basics of what you need to know so that you can be ready. Especially, most importantly, confirming the time, and confirming that it's definitely happening. Because then you'll just be left like, oh, so is this happening? Like at first you'll think like, okay, it's definitely happening. And like you kind of book off your Saturday to make sure that you're available. And then like the next day he doesn't really talk about it. Or he maybe doesn't even text you at all. And then the next day, same thing. And you're like, what the heck? What's going on here? And then you have to be the one that asks for clarity when he should have done it. And that doesn't feel very good for you because you're starting to feel anxious, right? And then every possible response that a man could give, you have probably heard, but one of them is like, oh, you know what, like something came up. And like he didn't even clarify that with you, and you've already like booked things off or readjusted your schedule in some kind of way, and like that's just a whole load of BS. Because he's not leading at all. Like that's not a man that you can trust. You need a man who you can trust more than anything else. That's what you need, is a man who is trustworthy, a man that you can follow, that you can let go with, that you can open up with, that you can count on, you can trust his word. And if a man is not showing up in that kind of way, then guess what's going to happen? You're going to feel anxious, right? It's your feminine instinct telling you something is wrong. And this goes back to understanding the difference between a masculine man and a more emasculated man. The less masculine a man is, typically, there's some exceptions, but in general, the less masculine a man is, the more anxious you are going to feel. And I don't mean anxious in a good way where it's like, oh, you meet this really amazing man and you like him so much and you're so excited to meet him, but you're a little scared that you're going to screw things up and you'll really want him to choose you and get in a relationship with him. I'm not talking about that kind of anxiety. I'm talking about the kind of anxiety without the excitement where it's just like, I don't know what the heck's going on. I don't know where things are going. I don't know what his intentions are with me. That's a really bad anxiety, uncomfortable anxiety for you to be experiencing, and it's not one you should be experiencing. Another example of this is a man who you've gone on a few dates and things are moving forward, but he doesn't tell you in any kind of way where things are going. He's not clear about that. He just kind of leaves you guessing. By the way, this is the first video that I'm going to be doing in a series all about this topic, because this is a really important topic that a lot of women struggle with. So depending on when you watch this video, there might be a whole bunch more in the series, and it's going to be below in the description. You're going to see the playlist for it if it's out yet. If this is just my first and you watch it right away, it might not be out right away, but it will be. So be sure to watch them all if this is really important to you. Also, if you're liking this so far, if you're having a good time, if you're still here all this far in, make sure that you like this video and make sure that you subscribe to this channel, because I want to just give you the best time ever. I want to educate you and entertain you at the same time, because we're having fun. So if you're having a good time, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like this video. That helps the algorithm, and the subscription is going to make sure you don't lose me all of a sudden. Where's that amazing guy who was talking about a feminine instinct and how why guys don't know how to lead today? That's why you subscribe right away. Okay, so where was I? So feminine instinct, guys don't know how to lead. That's a really big problem. Your feminine instinct is totally natural and normal. Oh yeah, so a guy who is not giving you clarity about that, about where things are going. With my wife, for example, and just to clarify again, I wasn't the perfect leader by any stretch of the imagination back then, but I did do a few things really right. And one of them was my wife had absolutely no doubt about where I was leading her as far as commitment, because I was telling her, it's like, no, I really like you. I'm pretty sure you're the one. I do want to continue dating you before being official, just to make sure, because I don't want it to be too soon and then it turns out to be wrong. But like, I'm moving things forward. And before the end of every date, I had planned another date with her already. She didn't have to guess like, oh, is he going to call me? Any of that crap. No, we've already planned it. I don't want to do that stuff on the phone. I just want to make sure it happens when it's easy to do it and talk it all out. So she's getting a lot of clarity there. Now, part of the problem, and maybe I will do a video about this, but this is interesting in itself. Many men are dumb, okay? And I used to be dumb in this respect as well, to a degree, but not as dumb as a lot of men are today, where they think that if they're just like really honest and clear with their intentions, if they just say what they want and where they're leading you and everything, you're going to get bored. You're going to lose interest. And yes, to be fair, there are a small minority of women who are just so broken, so many daddy issues, operating so unconsciously that they're addicted to that kind of drama. They're addicted to their own anxiety because that's what their understanding of love is. And you might be one of them too, and that's going to be another issue, but we can talk about that on another video. But the point is that so many men believe this, and they think that like being clear in their intentions, giving a woman clarity about like when they're going to have the date, what he thinks about her, where things are going, the commitment, what the plan, like all the plans are throughout the dating phase, is like being a nice guy in some way. Like a nice guy in the sense of being a doormat, like a simping guy, a guy who women typically aren't very attracted to. And that's not the case at all. Women love clarity. Women fall for clarity really hard. Women need that clarity. Women are going to feel that safety with clarity if it's coming from a man who has a backbone. If it's coming from a man who truly speaks the truth, who doesn't people please, who isn't soft and gushy, a man who is able to lead her, right? That kind of man is able to give that clarity just fine, and a woman's only going to be more attracted to him. So men learn this lesson through bad experiences, let's say. I'm not going to get into all the reasons why they learn this lesson, but the point is they learn the lesson that giving clarity and just telling a woman like here's how things are going to be and everything, this is being a nice guy and she's going to lose attraction for me, so I'm going to just keep her guessing. And this is going to be part of this series, by the way. I'm not going to talk too much on it in this video, but men do this and think that like this is how they should be leading a woman. That's not leading. That's being a wuss. I can't think of a better word for it. It's being emasculated for sure. It's living in fear. It's not being a responsible man. It's not being a responsible leader. So regardless of why, like I said, other videos we're going to talk about why, the point is that you're going to feel anxious when a man is emasculated and not giving you this kind of clarity. I'm going to give you another example, by the way, and this is more personal to me. And this is a mistake that I made in my marriage, even as I was learning polarity, and it really took some time to, even when I was doing my business, because we're all growing, right? Like I'm not perfect. I work towards being as perfect as I can as a masculine man. But one of the things that came up was I have my own business, right? I do these videos. I run my academy program for women, also for men. Teach women how to make all of these shifts, how to use feminine communication, ultimately how to create the relationship of their dreams. And I do it from home, which means I make my own hours. I don't do a 9-to-5 job. It's like, no, I want to work now, or I don't want to work now, or I got a discovery call here and I got my afternoon free. And so I can basically spend whatever time I want with my wife when I want to. But what I hadn't been very good at for a while is when I had a call or when I was doing something, I wasn't giving her clarity like, hey, sweetheart, like this is what I should have been doing from the beginning. Hey, sweetheart, I got a call at 11 o'clock in the morning and at 3 o'clock and then at 5 as well. And then I got to do some other stuff in the evening till like 8 o'clock. Oh, and my wife's stay-at-home mom, by the way, so she has lots of time to spend together too. So I could have said like, hey, from 11 until 2, we're going to be spending some time together. Okay, 11 to 2. So make sure you're available. Make sure you do whatever you need to do outside of that time. Because now she's really clear that like, okay, that there's some direction. I don't have to guess about when I should be doing things, when I should be doing the laundry, or when I should be cooking or whatever, or having my alone time. Here is the time that we're going to be spending together. Great. Now I can plan around that. And sometimes I'll ask her as well, depending like when are you best for your schedule, or I'll just say like, hey, we're going to be doing this. But regardless, I'm making the decision, I'm making the choice, and then I'm giving her that clarity about, okay, here is what we're going to be doing. When I didn't do that, it, like, she did feel a low level of anxiety. And for other women, it could cause a much higher level of anxiety. And she would also feel some irritation, some frustration, some annoyance. Because it is annoying, right? It is annoying when you're not being led by a man, when you're not getting that clarity. And so we had a conversation about what her experience was and what she really needed. And what she needed was just clarity, like just to be told what's going to be happening and when it's going to be happening so that she could accommodate in whatever way. So that's the kind of leadership throughout, like from before the first date, like when you're still texting and everything, you're getting clarity throughout all the way until basically you get married and you eventually die. And here's another thing, another really important form of clarity. It's like if a man's in a mood, right? On occasion I'm in a mood. I'm usually in a really good mood with my wife and just all the time, but sometimes I'm not in a good mood. You ever have a man who is in a bad mood and he didn't tell you, he didn't give you clarity about why, and you probably assumed that it had something to do with you, and then you felt like walking on eggshells and feeling crappy and anxious? How much nicer would it be if the man's just like, hey, sweetheart, like he just comes in and he's like, hey, sweetheart, just so you know, I'm in a bad mood right now. It has nothing to do with you. I just need to sit with it for a while and I'll get over it and then we'll talk later in a few hours. And he doesn't dump it on you or complain to you and treat you like his therapist or his mommy, any of that crap. It's just not, this is what I'm feeling. I'm going to deal with it. Don't worry about it. It has nothing to do with you. Just clarity. So simple. Like imagine you had a man that's giving you that level of clarity all the time. You just get to let go. It's like you're clear on everything that's happening, why he's doing the things that he's doing, what you guys are going to be doing together, and now you just feel good. You just feel relaxation. That's how you are supposed to be feeling all the time when you're actually with a truly healthy masculine man. Now, this is not to say that this is not none of this is your responsibility in any kind of way. First of all, you picked the man, or the past man or the future man that's going to be doing this to you. You picked him, so you got some responsibility in that. I'm not saying like, hey, this is all just the man and has nothing to do with you. But yeah, it has a lot to do with the man. Absolutely. And take that weight off of yourself when it comes to you feeling anxiety and thinking that there's something wrong with you. Nope. Your feminine instinct works perfectly fine. Okay? Nothing wrong with it at all. And there's something that's wrong with his leadership. Okay? So nothing wrong with your feelings, right? Which is coming from your instinct. Something wrong with his leadership. And then probably, based on my experiences working with women and seeing how women communicate, and also my experience dating women, there's also probably something wrong with your behavior that you go into, right? The control pattern because of his leadership, which is what we will be talking about. Before we do, very briefly, if you are struggling with these kind of problems with a man, understand that you have the power to fix it. And not fix it as like you're fixing the relationship or fixing the dating situation, because that would be masculine, right? Like it's not your job to fix any of that crap. It's the man's job to fix everything. It's your job to work on yourself. And it's not even fixing yourself, because you're not broken. You're actually amazing and beautiful and perfect within. It's just you got these control patterns over top of who you are that you learned mostly from childhood to stay safe and to get your needs met, that don't typically work in a relationship context or in a dating context, and tends to repel a man and attract the wrong kind of men and attract the wrong kind of behaviors from men. So all I'm doing on these videos and also in my academy program for women is helping you peel back those layers, those control patterns that are over top of who you really are. Who are you really? You are just a beautiful, and I'm talking about internally, a beautiful feminine woman who's just innocent and open and vulnerable and just perfect. And men don't realize how amazing you are, because that beautiful self is covered up in all those yucky control patterns. So what I'm pointing out to you on these videos, or part of what I'm pointing out, is the control patterns that you're experiencing and exhibiting, and then why you're getting into them in the first place, right? Because your instinct is responding to something that the man's doing that's a problem, and then what you can do to start shifting out of the control patterns. And this is also what we do on a far deeper level in our academy program. What do we do in my academy? Well, we literally give you all of the communication necessary, feminine communication, to shift these patterns. We help you feel your feelings. We help give you a safe container and a safe way of relating with men, like me and my team, who are safe men, who are giving you clarity, who are leading you properly, who are emotionally centered, so that you can regulate yourself, so that you can shift your patterns without being worried about being abandoned or judged or anything crappy like that, and heal, right? Feel everything that comes up and actually heal those control patterns, so that when you're out in the world with a man, it's so much easier to make those same shifts because you've done it already with us. You're able to do it with us from a place where you're not controlling at all. You're just open, you're just vulnerable, you're just at ease. If you would like our help, at the end of this video, or right now, or at any point in the future, you're open to working with us. Whoops. I don't know if my computer just shut off there. No, I don't think it did. If you're open, if you want to work with us, if you're feeling that resonance where it's like, man, it sounds amazing. This is what I need. I need to be led in this kind of way. I need to have a man take my hand and lead me through making all of these shifts. I would love to talk with you on a call. And go below this video, open up the description. You're going to see the link to relationshipyourdreams.com. There's a 10-minute video on that page that will explain all of this and show you about making these shifts and what has happened for our students by making these shifts. And then from there, you book a call with me and we talk for free, and I give you feedback about what's going on in your love life and how to shift. How to get everything you want, how to get a man who gives you clarity, who's masculine, who's leading, who's taking charge, who's devotional, the kind of man that you need, a healthy masculine man. So that's relationshipyourdreams.com. Go there. Okay, let's continue. So I'm going to give you some advice and some feedback about what to do in this situation. I talk a lot about what we teach our students in our academy program here on these videos, and that's why you got to keep watching these videos. Watch as many of these videos as you can, because I give little pieces in each one so that you understand what polarity, masculine and feminine polarity, is all about, how to show up, how to be your best self all the time. And it's not about attracting a man or inspiring a man. That's secondary. The most important thing is that you're doing it for you, because it feels so good for you to be in your feminine, for you to let go of control. So main control patterns are going to be, you're judging. I said a few of these. You're judging, you're questioning. Like, questioning is the biggest. Like, let's just focus on questioning for a moment. Like, what time are we meeting? Where are we going? Blah, blah, blah. And then you have to keep doing that every time the man's not giving clarity. And then it's like you're always compelled into kind of a subtle masculine energy to figure out what's happening. And it's not how it's supposed to be. You want to inspire him to eventually get his damn act together and start leading and giving that clarity from the beginning. Telling you, hey, sweetheart, 6 o'clock, I'm going to pick you up. Be ready. We're going to have a fantastic time. I'm going to take you out for dinner. Or whatever. 10 years into a marriage, hey, 4 o'clock today, I'm going to pick up the kids. You don't have to worry about them. I'm going to give you a couple hours to yourself to do whatever. And then I'm going to come back around 6. And then we're going to be doing this, right? Clarity all the way through, so that you can just let go and have ease and not be worried about what's happening. So questioning is going to be the biggest and the biggest control pattern, typically for most women. Usually it gets more into judging. The more pissed off a woman gets, the longer that she's exposed to this lack of leadership. But a man typically, and like nagging as well, like the questions turn into nagging, like that irritated energy. But a man never is likely to shift from that because he doesn't understand. Men don't have they don't have a feminine instinct. Men have a masculine instinct. They're not feeling all of this anxiety all the time like a woman is, typically, unless he's got like huge trauma going on for him to feel that anxiety. The masculine instinct is very different. Typically, men are going to feel a lot of irritation, and that unless a man's instinct is totally suppressed, which for many men it is, okay? But I'm talking about men who are more masculine oriented. So they're going to feel irritation when a woman is leading in any way. So any of those control patterns, leading, judging, resisting, blaming, questioning, all that stuff, when a woman does that, he's going to feel a little bit of irritation because his masculine instinct is telling him, okay, you're being led right now. And you need to either resist this or submit to this in some way. And a masculine man, the more masculine, he's going to want to resist. And he's probably not going to do it in the healthiest way because he hasn't been trained. He hasn't worked in our academy program. He hasn't learned how to be a healthy masculine man and lead his woman with love. So instead he's just going to be judging or critical, blamey, withdraw a little bit, and then leave you more anxious, feeling even worse than before, when you were just trying to get clarity the best way that you know how. So what you can do to shift this, one of the things you can do, and there's a lot that you can do to shift this, but one of the most basic things you can do is you need to stop asking all the questions. And it can be when this specific situation comes up or just at any time. And you open yourself up for help energetically. Just you're opening up your field, opening up your heart. And you're asking him for help. Because you need help in that moment. All of this lack of clarity, all of this anxiety that you're feeling, you need help with it. Now, he's the cause of it. Well, his behavior is co-created. Yeah, we'll just say he's the cause of it. And he's also the solution to it, because only he is able to make that anxiety go away by stepping up and being the man that you need. And so how is he going to give you that solution? Well, he needs to understand what the problem is. He needs to start understanding your feminine instinct. He needs to start understanding the experience, the negative experience that he is giving you every time he doesn't step up and make it really clear for you what's going on, like what the plan is, what's happening, why he's acting a certain way. He needs to understand that not doing that is a big problem, and he needs to be motivated to shift it. So there's many ways to tell him what the problem is, right? Like you could just send him this video and be like, hey, watch this, honey. Watch this video and start doing it. Start doing what a real man says. And that would cause him a lot of irritation, because that would be very disrespectful and you're leading him. You could also just tell him like, hey, from now on, I want you to be giving me clarity about stuff. You could be blaming him, like, you're never giving me clarity. You need to just be clear about what things are what's happening and when we're doing things and stuff. He'll get the message where it's like you don't like what he's doing, but he's probably not going to change. There's that whole thing that many women believe that like a man doesn't change. No, men change. I have changed a massive amount for my wife. And not out of people pleasing, not because I'm afraid of losing her or anything like that, but because I want to be a better man for her. Because I want to be the best man that I can possibly be and make her feel amazing and relaxed all the time. But I didn't used to be that way. Now, part of that was because I had what I call a Peter Pan syndrome, where I was just like really resistant to growing up in any way. And part of it was because whenever my wife would communicate with me, it was very disrespectful. Lots of questioning, lots of judging, lots of resisting. And I was just not inspired. So I had a general idea of how I could change to be a better man, and I had no motivation to do it. So those types of men, they just won't shift. Another type of man, the people pleaser man, he will appear to shift. He will shift for a while because he wants your approval, but it's not sustainable because it's not a deep level change. It's just a costume. He's trying to appease you. And so nothing changes deep down, and you feel that in some way, that he's just doing it out of obligation. He's just doing it to make you happy, but for the wrong reasons. And it's no deep level change. The deep level change comes when he's informed about what the problem is and based on what your experience is, and he's inspired to do something about it. He wants to be a better man for you. How are you going to inspire that? By being in your feminine energy and using feminine communication, because that is what the masculine instinct responds to. Just like the feminine instinct responds to a man who demonstrating safety and is demonstrating strength. He's demonstrating leadership. He's energetically penetrative. He's loving. He has a big heart. And you're just like, man, I just want to follow that man to the end of the earth, right? That's your feminine instinct. Men don't want to follow a woman to the end of the earth. If he was a deeply wounded people pleaser, he might, but that's not his instinct. That's his wounding that wants to follow a woman. Masculine men don't want to follow women. They want to lead women. They want to lead women to the moon, to the best, whatever is going to make her happiest, whatever is going to bring her joy, whatever is going to bring her healing. And for you to be able to inspire that, you need to be in your feminine energy and use feminine communication, which is respectful. So he responds, the masculine instinct responds to respect, vulnerability, feminine energy. If you don't know how to do those things, how to embody that energy, then you're not going to be inspiring to a man. This isn't just about the words. Like, I can teach you some of the words, but what's much more important is using the words to tap into that beautiful feminine energy, which naturally inspires him. And over time, this work, like what we do in our academy, the biggest thing we're doing, more than the communication, more than the behavior patterns and everything, ultimately what we're doing is we're helping you shift into your self-worth at a very deep level. Like, learn to love yourself in the deepest way and not tolerate anything less than devotion, basically. And what's going to happen is, when you truly believe that deep down, that's going to be externally reflected by a man who just wants to be devoting to you and cherishing you and adoring you all of the time. So you shift those patterns. Like, shifting the patterns is what is going to start to shift you more and more into your self-worth. So saying something like, man, please have some help. I'm really experiencing a lot of anxiety right now. Or in the past, like this thing brought up a lot of anxiety for me. And he's like, what? What's going on? What do you mean? And then you share, like, what is the problem that you're experiencing? Well, you're like, I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's going on, and whenever I don't know what's happening, I just start to feel anxious because I don't know, like, are things still happening? I don't know if I should be making plans. I don't know what I should be doing. I don't know if you still like me or whatever it is. By the way, when this comes to insecurity stuff, like you're insecure because he might abandon you, which is another big part of a lack of clarity, there's nothing wrong with sharing that. Like, that doesn't scare away healthy men at all. That might possibly, maybe, scare away really messed up men. But healthy men will actually be more attracted to you when you share your insecurity in a respectful, vulnerable way. Now, of course, there's a million ways for a woman to express insecurity in a really unhealthy way, which will push him away and then cause more anxiety in the future and make it more likely that you'll be closed off. You want to hide that part of yourself because you think it's unattractive. No, like I said, all of you underneath your control patterns is attractive. It's beautiful. You're perfect under there. You just need to dig underneath that and know how to show that part of you to a man. That's all you got to do. So you're sharing what the problem is and seeing how he responds. Now, sometimes men, just to that basic thing that I told you, they'll respond super well. And if so, fantastic, right? Easy. Sometimes they've got their own wounds. They're stuck in their own limiting beliefs about, like, oh, like this dumb one. This one bothers me because I hear so much from my women students in the academy. It's like, that your feelings aren't my problem. Like, that's something for a therapist or whatever to deal with. Men should not be getting into a relationship if they don't choose to take responsibility for a woman's feelings. And by that, I don't mean that, like, turning into a pretzel to make sure that she's happy. Like, that's ultimately a woman's responsibility to be happy. What I'm talking about is he's taking responsibility for his behaviors that are contributing to a woman's negative feelings. Like, in my relationship, okay, and like in my marriage, okay, I'm not being clear with my wife about certain things and it brings up anxiety. I'm going to choose to be responsible and be like, well, I don't want her to feel that anxiety. If I stop doing that, then anxiety is going to go away. And yeah, I guess that is more of what a masculine man would do. I'm just giving a lot more clarity. So I'm going to do that. And then I do it. Some men do not have that capacity initially anyway, to take that level of responsibility. And then you're going to need to know a much deeper level of feminine communication to navigate all of these rather challenging situations. But it ultimately all comes down to you letting go of control, being direct in a feminine way about what's going on for you, and also not, this is one last piece of this before we wrap things up, not enabling his lack of clarity. Like, you need to be willing to walk away from any man who's not willing to change. You're not setting that as a boundary, like, hey, you don't shift this, I'm out of here. This is my boundary. You better respect it. Because no masculine men are just going to be like, yeah, I'm out. Like, no thanks. I don't want to be led by a woman. But you can be really soft and vulnerable and share how it's impacting you, and share that, like, you're scared and, like, because of what's coming up for you, like, I don't want to have to leave, but I might have to. You're not threatening him. It's just you're explaining how this is affecting you and that you can't stay because it's feeling so bad. And you're also willing to leave. And what that's going to do is, when a man feels your willingness to leave, he's going to be feeling so much more of your self-worth. And he's going to, many men anyway, not every man, is going to become much more inspired to be better for you, because they don't want to lose a woman who's in her worth, because he can feel her worth. It's like the difference between, I've used this analogy before, like, he doesn't want to lose a perfect brand new Ferrari, because that's worth so much. But if it's like a 1980 Chevy that's just trash, and it's all dented and rusty and crappy, he doesn't really care. Not to objectify you or anything and compare you to vehicles, but that's how a man responds, right? And it's based on what you believe deep down about your own worth. You create your reality in that way. He feels that, and he's going to feel it. It's going to manifest as a difference in level of attraction and inspiration for you. The more that you are in your worth, the more he's going to be attracted to you, and the more inspired he's going to be to step up, take care of you, be the best man he can possibly be for you. And you have that power. You and you alone have that power to shift fully into your self-worth and inspire a man into being the absolute best man that he could ever be for you. If you would like help learning how to make these shifts and inspire a man into taking care of you in this way, again, below this video, open up the description, relationshipyourdreams.com, click it, watch the video, book the call with me. I'll see you there. We'll have a fantastic time. And if you're not quite ready for that yet, that's okay too. Make sure that you continue watching these videos and continue learning, putting the pieces together. Things are going to start to click. Things are going to shift for you. And no matter what, I just want you to create the relationship your dreams, not just with a man, but also with yourself, because you deserve that. And I want that for you. That's it for this one. I'll see you for the next one.